Well, good morning. This is Michelle Hughes of Ageless and Timeless. Today I have someone here that is very, very special. Her name is Angie Wong. She's a licensed massage therapist, and she has her office in Hollywood, West Hollywood on Sunset. And we'll give you all that detail later. But I wanted you to know a little bit about Angie before we introduce her. Because I've always looked at massage as one of those modalities that's part of Ageless and Timeless. And however, when choosing a massage therapist, I think you have to be very, very careful. And there is certainly a difference between what I call a massage therapist and a healer. And I would say the massage therapist is more like going to college, and the healer is more like going to graduate school. And when you find a healer, and that healer really has an impact, a positive impact on you and your body, then you know that you have found nirvana. So stay with that person, because that person has somehow psychically connected, intuitively connected with what your needs are. And we're all energetic beings. So when somebody feels our energy and then can tap into it and help to exacerbate, I'm sorry, defeat the problems that we have by finding the root cause and working with that. And Angie's going to tell you a little bit more about her treatments and her modalities. So without further ado, I want to introduce Angie Wong, and she'll tell you more about what she does and why she does it and how she got to where she is today. So Angie, welcome.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for having me. Appreciate it.
And I want you to know that today, when you're talking to me, look in the camera.
Perfect.
Because it seems odd, but because I want to look at you as
Right.
well, but then we're not looking at our viewers. And so it takes a little bit, I know it takes a little bit of training to do that.
Sure.
So Angie, you started, I think you got your degree in 2002. And you've worked all over the LA area in spas, in chiropractors, and acupuncture offices. Where have you found your greatest satisfaction in terms of before you started your own company? Where did you find your greatest success?
Yeah, absolutely. And because of the different atmospheres that I worked in, I definitely found the most satisfaction in the medical setting. Obviously, due to the fact that many people really live with chronic or acute pain anywhere, all throughout our body, whether that's neck and shoulders, low back, hips, you name it, head to toe, right? And so many of us have experienced injuries in our life, some of which we don't even remember, which is so interesting. You have to remember that once we have been born, our body has been with us every single day, every second of the day, and it's literally recording every movement, every thought and feeling, emotions that's stored in the body. And that's why, it goes deeper than just physical pain when I talk about what I do, collectively. But yes, a lot of the findings that I see is so much fulfilling when I'm in the medical space of really
And
healing.
when you're in a medical office, do they allow you to do a little more, take a little more poetic license, let's say, in terms because they're medically certified, than if you're doing it in a spa in Beverly Hills?
It's interesting. What do you mean, like poetic? Like,
Well, when I said poetic license, that was kind of a metaphor. What I meant is, are you allowed to do a little bit deeper work, a little bit more, let's just say, medical diagnostic, in terms of the client versus more superficial body work?
Well, so not to knock the spas because they're amazing, right? And there's benefits for both. What I found though is that when I worked at the spa, it is very superficial. It's more of like treatments, body scrubs, to really get overall relaxation. However, when I was at the spas, a lot of times when people would book a Swedish, they still would ask, "Can you give me more pressure?" So it was like I pretty much was giving a sports massage, whether they knew that or not, right? And then on the clinical aspect, I'm typically working under the direction of the doctor or either the chiro or physical therapist, kind of giving me an idea of like, okay, what's going on with the client, this is what we're going to focus on. And so therefore I would
have a little bit more freedom.
That direction. Yeah.
More freedom. Okay. So what led you to start your own company?
Yeah. So, I mean, I realized that so many of my feedback, people would say, my gosh, this is so great. Like, what is this style? I feel so amazing. I've never felt this way before, and a lot of these clients, they're well traveled, right? So, they would consider themselves very experienced in that receiving end of getting massages. And so, I started thinking, I've always been an entrepreneurial type of spirit. And I realized, I can do this on my own. I don't have to work under the premise of someone else. And not that I have a problem with it, as I love to actually collaborate with professionals. But what really pulled me in another direction was the whole CBD and THC aspect of things, where that's what I do. I incorporate that. It's very, kind of niche, right? Like, I know that it's very new right now in today's, like, just like what's going on with the government and everything. But a lot of people are more open to having more holistic, natural healing. And I was able to find my mentor. Her name is Liz McDuffie. She's been an activist in legalization since the 60s. And, I found her program and I got trained under her. She's actually recognized through the state of California as an educator in that space. And so I took her program, and that allowed me to then become a cannabis practitioner. So not only am I now like a licensed massage therapist understanding the body, but now I can, incorporate natural medicine to elevate healing for people. And I thought, hey, you know what? I can do this on my own. I approached a few people that I've worked in the past, like chiropractors and such, and they're really like kind of skeptical and weird about it. And I said, you know what? Like, if they don't want to do it, I can absolutely get this going for myself. So I did.
Well, you say that in such a sweet, simple way, but taking that step, as we all know, those of us who have taken the entrepreneurial leap, we all know that the risk is huge, but the rewards are greater if we are diligent and of course succeed. So,
Yes.
of course, you had to go through some sleepless nights, I'm sure, in terms of getting the funding and all of the things that go along with starting your own company, licensing and finding office space, signing leases, Right. So I'm sure that little simple description is not quite as simple as it really was in reality. But congratulations. It's been how many years now?
Actually, yesterday was my 2-year anniversary.
2 year. I saw that on the internet. I was like, yahoo! Great for you.
Thank you.
So excited. 2 years and still flying high and
Yeah,
growing.
Absolutely.
Well, so let's take a moment and talk about the CBD versus the THC versus cannabis. So,
Sure.
I spent 7 months in helping some friends of mine launch a CBD company. And it's my feeling, and this is just personal, that I guess I feel like CBD is the answer, because it doesn't get you high unless that's what you really want. If you really want to get high, then don't go to CBD.
Right.
But if you can do all the same properties of medical marijuana, why wouldn't you? And you don't want to get high, why wouldn't you just stay with CBD?
Totally.
So can you
Yeah.
tell us what your feelings are about that?
Exactly what you said. It's really quite simple. Is that for example, if you if you take Tylenol, right, or Advil, you would typically take that because you have some kind of symptom, a pain symptom. Whereas with CBD, you can take it as a supplement, right? Because naturally, we already have inflammation throughout our body. With all the acidic foods and whatever else that we're putting into our system, CBD really helps offset the inflammation. And as we know, inflammation typically leads to disease. So if we're able to control the inflammation in our body, then we're able to maintain a healthier lifestyle. And as to, in comparison to THC, dosing can be very tricky. Some people have had really adverse effects of like edibles. You don't know when it's going to hit you and how much to take. You have like a cookie and the cookie's amazing, and you eat the cookie like a regular cookie, and then it's not a regular cookie, So people get very fearful. They had one bad experience and they're like, never again.
Right.
And not to say that THC is bad. There's definitely it's what's really amazing about cannabis these days is it's becoming so much more intelligent. Whereas you can go to someone who's truly knowledgeable. Like, I'm not knocking dispensaries either, but sometimes I don't think they have the capacity and the education to really guide someone who's really like, hey, I'm new to this and I have these type of ailments or this disease and this is what I want to, like treat. And they'll be like, oh, this is great. And they'll give them like 100 milligrams of THC and then they don't know how to dose it. And then this person is like in the hospital the next day. So like, again, with proper education, you can use THC for sleep, for appetite increase, for, a lot of people who do have cancer, unfortunately, they go through chemo and oh my gosh, come on, radiation, and their bodies, right? They can't stomach food, they can't keep it down. So actually, THC has these benefits where it can help with the nausea, can help it increase their appetite, so they want to eat, keeps them healthy, right? You got to nourish the body, especially if you're fighting something so intense like cancer.
It's interesting to me that the cannabinoid system has been with us,
yes,
forever. Why is it all of a sudden we're addressing that as a as a modality that we can actually control and improve? What happened to create that awareness of the cannabinoid system, and why, and therefore CBD became such a widespread panacea?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because as you said, we actually have a system, just like we have a lymphatic system, we have a musculoskeletal system, a nervous system, we have an endocannabinoid system, and that system is compatible. It's like the glove that fits with the cannabinoids in cannabis. So whether it's CBD, THC, THCA, CBN, CBG, there's literally hundreds of cannabinoids that we're actually not familiar with. We're still scraping the surface. It's incredible how much research we're already retrieving just right now in the very beginning stages as we are, allowing the legalization in certain states, and as we continue to really kind of go to the edge, and not to the edge where it's like dangerous. It's really, we're always looking for innovation. We're always looking for better and more effective, right, in every aspect of like the industry. That industry is here. So in the health and wellness, if there's other ways that we can have a healthier lifestyle without having to constantly be on like medication, like chemically made ingredients, then why not?
Well, because we know that pharmaceutical drugs have their role to play, particularly in a crisis. However, there are always side effects, and that's what I think most people get plagued with in terms of trying to use them on a routine basis, where they can have alternatives and not have those side effects. Why not? And the THC versus the CBD, the discussion we're having is really an important one, because in case anyone doesn't know, the CBD the THC is the cannabis, is the marijuana. The CBD is anything less than 0.3% THC. So if you're going to use THC, it had to have passed that test in order to be legal. The 2018 Farm Bill now allows hemp, which is CBD, allows hemp to be crossing state lines. It allows the growers to legally grow it. It allows banks to accept the payments from CBD, but not yet from, federally speaking, for FDIC banks, for example, not yet legal with cannabis, with the THC. So it's very important people understand that there's still a lot of controversy. The FDA has not yet caught up with the Farm Bill, so there's still a lot of disputes and debates and misunderstandings as to hemp and its uses. But hemp has been around for thousands of years. It's been used in many, many applications. They say I think I read 600 applications. Even the Declaration Declaration of Independence was written on hemp paper.
Yes.
So, here's an alternative that is non-toxic, and Angie is using it, and I'm going to let her tell us how she uses it in her practice, so that if you do decide you want to come and book a massage with her, you'll know what to expect. So, Angie, why don't you tell us where and when you're using let's focus on the CBD.
Awesome. Yeah, and really my practice, I do ultimately use CBD. It's very rare that a client will come to me and want to inquire
To get
more.
high.
Yeah, and it's funny because they'll actually say, I don't want to get high.
Right.
I'm like, no worries. This is why I have CBD.
Right.
And because they haven't tried it before and they're a little still apprehensive, but they trust me enough because, my reviews are great. I would tell them, don't you think if I had like someone who had a horrible result from it,
You wouldn't be doing it.
they would be like blasting me on my,
Yelp.
on Yelp. Like all my Yelp reviews, thankfully, have been, really positive.
Right.
And I'm so grateful for my clients for supporting me in that way and, sharing their experience. But, absolutely, if someone had a horrible experience with CBD, they would be like, do not take that pill.
Right.
Just say no, like run away,
But giving them one dose of, let's say, a liquid under the tongue,
Yes.
just a sublingual, one dose in your office isn't going to change their lives. So,
No.
how are they even going to know unless they're going to
Yeah.
take it home and start using it
Right.
and then come back to you on a routine basis with that usage. So, of course, fear is always debilitating, right? And
Absolutely.
anybody that's the unknown can be fearful.
Yeah.
And so taking something you don't know about, although today I would say CBD has become probably the candy store for, the new hot products. And there's just, unfortunately, what that produces is exactly what you don't want, which is it's not a regulated product. And there's a lot of charlatans out there. So buyer beware on CBD. We've talked about that on other podcasts, but Angie, I know, has very carefully selected
Yes.
the two products that she's using in her practice. So what are the names of those two, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, absolutely. One is Willow Creek Springs. This is the company has been around for, I think, over 20 years, and he's been formulating stuff. He uses all natural herbs and has a botanical garden, and so he does all the blends, essential oils, all organic, both companies. The other one is Quanta, I believe was started by a former Major League Baseball, NLB. I can't even, Okay, so
a Major League Baseball player?
Yeah, a former.
Who had pain.
Correct.
Yeah.
So Quanta is that one, and I love both of them. They work nearly the same, both really positive feedback. My clients are like, oh my God, this is awesome.
Is it both liquid?
So Quanta, I only use their muscle rub, whereas Willow Creek Springs, I use their muscle rub as well, the salve, tinctures, pills. They kind of have a range of choices in that sense, including pet products. Pet CBD products.
Yeah, that's another area that a lot of people don't realize, that there are now pet products for CBD that have been amazingly effective.
Really,
there's a little science that needs to be addressed for just a moment here about CBD, and because scientific studies are not as available with products like this yet. However, with CBD, there have been so many scientific studies because of the fact that it's 1,000 years old and has been used medicinally more recently. I think mainly because of when marijuana became legalized in so many states. CBD and hemp. CBD and hemp, marijuana and CBD are part of the same plant. They're like brother and sister. They're two parts of the same hemp plant.
Absolutely.
It's just the difference is what I said before, which is one has more higher than 0.3% THC and gets you high, and the other one, CBD, of course, is below 0.3% in order to be legal. So the reason I'm mentioning the scientific is that many people will be hesitant to try anything unless they see scientific studies. That comes from really the allopathic model of drug, being approved by the FDA and so forth. So, I think because you're not in a regulated industry like supplements, CBD, normally wouldn't have that much, but it just turns out that there are many, many scientific studies. And so what happens is there's different parts of the plant, and you can talk to people about how much isolate do you have, how much pure CBD is, how many milligrams of pure CBD. And so, Angie, when you do your research on which products to use, do you ask the manufacturers those questions about whether it's pure CBD, whether it's mixed with isolate?
Yes.
How do you decide?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's really just like the response from my clients as well as my own, like what I feel. And I just make sure that I use all organic, and that's really what matters to me. Everyone has their own like preference in terms of like full spectrum, isolate, and so forth. But for me, I just got lucky, to be honest, and I stay true and loyal to the ones that like. There's no reason for me to leave or kind of venture out. Although I know there are other absolutely great, amazing products. It's just there's so many, right? And I know that's also been an issue for a lot of people. They're like, I tried this and this one I wasn't necessarily happy with, or versus like another brand. So they always ask me like what I like best. But of course, these are mainly the two that I work with and I know. So maybe it's a little biased, but it's also the truth. You know what I mean? So
Right. Now, that's fine. And I think in case you didn't catch one of our podcasts, Angie, I'll send you the tape of Sun IQ is the company that I was a part of for 7 months, and they're still really active in the extraction part. They're not the retailers, so they're very essential to the end product.
Great.
And we talked on that podcast with the CEO and the president, William Ozzolino and Joel Rosenberg, and we discussed the couple of companies that we thought were efficacious. One is called Quicksilver, and the founder of that company is Dr. Chris Shade. You can look him up. And I know I mentioned it to you on the phone because I said, I'm not trying to sell you on Quicksilver, but I think you should look at them. They have a nanotechnology absorption that is, I think, beyond compare.
Nice.
And I hear so much good feedback from people who have tried and their product is sublingual.
Yeah.
So it's liquid. You put it under you put it in your mouth. You don't even have to put it under your tongue. Just put it in your mouth. Keep it there for like 60 seconds and then swallow.
Yep.
And so anyway, just a little, broadening of awareness, because there are so many companies out there today.
Yes.
So let's go to the modalities. And I know that you promised me, and I'm really looking forward to this, a little sample so our viewers can understand how you work. And I'm going to be your victim today. Yay, yay. I get to I haven't had a massage in a long time, so this will be fun. Yes. But before we get to that, let's talk about the different modalities. If I walk into your office, or one of our viewers walks in, and what's going to happen to them? How do you get to know me or them? And how do you then apply what you learn verbally into the actual session, the treatment?
Right. Well, first and foremost, of course, I'd like to know what it is that they're in to see me for. So then I'll kind of get an understanding. I'll see their, like postural structure. And then I'll start off with the dose of the CBD. I actually don't do a sublingual. I do a pill form. It's 25 milligrams, which is a nice dose. It'll definitely... Most people will feel something by the end of the session, like extremely relaxed, euphoric, all that good stuff. And then, so of course, then I'll proceed to the massage. And what I'll typically do is locate the trigger points. Sometimes typically people will say neck and shoulders, right? Or a lot of times their shoulders are pulled forward. So I love this saying. One of my clients said this, and it's so like, it's everything. She said, it's the victim who always screams and not the culprit. So the victim being your neck and shoulders, and the creator of that is your chest.
Right.
So I don't just deal with the main area, I deal with what's around it, what is affecting those areas.
It's kind of like the lower back is affected by the core, and most people don't
Core
realize.
or hamstrings.
Most people don't
Yes.
realize. You
Hips.
you need to strengthen your core and your
Totally.
hamstrings
Yeah.
if you're having lower back problems,
Yeah.
because it's not localized just to the lower back. So
Correct.
this is all like full body integration, right?
Yes, and that's why trigger point therapy for me is super effective, because I locate all the, what's triggering this ear. So if it's, sometimes it's even the lats, or it's like, down in these certain areas that kind of are overlooked, or even like in the edge of the outer edge of the scapula, all those muscles there. I won't throw the medical terms because we'd be like, what?
Right.
But just basically outer of the shoulders. And so I just do a very clean, thorough sweep of all those areas using trigger point therapy, myofascial release, acupressure, and some stretching to get that range of motion back and bring your body back into alignment.
So define trigger point.
Yeah, so it's basically an area that has been collecting a lot of tension, right? So like basically like an overused muscle, right? So again, the neck and shoulders, like your traps there'd be trigger points there. Your rhomboids is a trigger point. I mean, it could honestly almost be anywhere, but it's based on the person's like movements, on where how they're using their body particularly, which is why I typically do a very customized treatment for everybody, based on what they're here to see me for.
So they do fill out an application when they first come in, and then you talk to them. You have a consultation before they ever get on the table.
Absolutely.
And that's where all those questions that you're gathering information about what it is they want to fix. And
Correct.
what if somebody comes in and says everything?
Oh, and they do.
Do they?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you have your challenges in front of you. So how do you focus? Like, I know there are some areas that are going to help the other areas, like you just talked about, the culprit and the victim. So how do you know what order of events, and how do you attack that?
Sure. So of course, first and foremost, I would say, depending on how much time we have together, I do as much as I can to cover. However, if it really is a more, severe condition where like sometimes like intuitively, it's like I can't leave that area. I don't feel like it's complete yet. So I'll stay there until I feel like it's effective enough that I can proceed. So they're usually okay with that. I'll communicate that with them, so they don't have expectations like, you didn't hit my feet and I told you to get my feet,
That means you have to come back.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, I do as much as I can. Sometimes I'm able to actually address them all. But if something is really like major and I can tell, and I'll talk to them about it, they're like, no, for sure. Just as long as you do this mainly, that's most important to me. But if you can get other things, then great. If not, like first of all, of course, they're usually happy with their treatment, so they are more than okay to come back. But of course, if they're not happy with it, they'll.
Is it an hour? How long is a treatment typically?
On average, I'll say 60 minutes. Some clients will do 90 minutes, and then every now and then I'll have someone do a 2-hour session. I also have shorter, sessions as well, in case some people, either if they're limited with funds or limited with time, and they just really want to get that particular concern taken care of, then I can absolutely be effective in 30 minutes.
Oh, wow. I don't see how anyone could ever do 30 minutes. I'd be like dying.
It's a tease, right? Even an hour
it's a
for
teaser.
me is not even enough.
No, for sure. Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah.
So, okay, you said myofascial, trigger point. What are some other? Acupressure, stretching. Those are the 4 main modalities that you would say you employ.
Correct.
Have you ever done lomi?
You know what? I do incorporate some lomi in there. It's the Hawaiian, kind of. Yep.
Well, because I lived in Hawaii, and worked in Hawaii for a good part of my life.
Yes. So
and,
relaxing.
That is like one of the most important healing modalities is lomi massage.
Yes.
And so I just wondered if anyone in your practice here has ever asked you to do lomi because they've had it done there.
No, it's funny. They don't ask me, but I actually do incorporate, particularly with the feet. So I'll rock their feet by the heels, and it literally, it travels up their whole entire body. So they're just like rocking. They're like, oh my God, that feels so good. I'm like, isn't it incredible how just the like slightest rocking motion can just, create so much, relaxation.
Well, because Lomi really is symbolic of Hawaii in the sense of the aloha spirit. And basically, what you are doing is you are cradling or nurturing the person with love.
Right.
And that loving energy is amazingly healing, which we all know that, love is everything in life.
Yeah.
So, when you do the treatment that way and you show them that kind of energetic aloha, it's amazing how effective that can be. And there are so many different types of Lomi practitioners, but the bottom line of it all, I think, is that cradling of, like you said, taking the feet and rubbing them. And the feet, of course, have such amazing nerve endings, right?
Yes, exactly.
So if we're going to do a little treatment today, let's do it. Let's do it now while we're about halfway through our discussion. And tell me, like, you walked in the room. I had just finished another podcast, and you probably sized me up and said, okay, this is what I need to do for this woman.
Okay.
she needs help. So what is it that you sized up so we know what you're going to attack when we do our little victim and culprit expression here?
Yeah. I would kind of just, scan your posture and see like what's going on. But of course, then asking like, where you typically feel pain, then I'll kind of take a look and see what's going on, and then it would give me an idea like of the landscape, so to speak, and then how I would approach it. We might be a little limited since we have a chair massage versus an actual table. Like, so if you told me hips, like, I don't know what I could actually really do on a chair, but
Okay, the good news for you is I don't have any pain. I'm an athlete.
Great,
I'm totally blessed.
Okay.
So what I like is the sports massage because it loosens me up, and of course I'm on the phone and the computer and doing podcasts and driving, and so there's always going to be that deeper tension. I think some people just have an ability to camouflage. No, I meant in my case, before I get to what you're going to do, but to camouflage that expression of pain by just being like powering through it without any evidence of it. Do you ever find people like that in your practice?
I am so glad you pointed that out, because that's literally like, I would say 95% of my clients. Right?
Really?
Oh my God, yes.
Because they're powering through they don't want to feel any weakness or vulnerability.
Right. Because we are in this society where we're like in this go.
Yeah, exactly.
Like get things done, suck it up mentality.
Right.
Like you gotta, you got this. Right. And we literally we don't pay attention to the signs. It's like something as simple as, and I'll say this to my clients, I'm like, how many times have you been like, oh my God, I have to go to the bathroom? And then you're like, I can hold it. And then you're like 2-3 hours go by and you're like, oh my God, I have to really go to the bathroom.
Right.
And you're like darting.
And then when you get close, then you can't even hold it anymore.
Right.
As soon as you get close to home, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you're like dying, right? Like, oh my God, I got to go so bad.
Yeah.
Well, it's
same
kind of
with
the same
pain.
thing. Like you feel the pain. You're like, oh, what is this? And you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna ignore it. I got shit to do. Forgive my language. I got work to do. I'm busy, and then you forget about it, and it happens over and over and over, and you're collecting, and all of a sudden you're like, I can't move my neck.
Yeah.
Help me.
Well, there is that aspect too. If you sleep wrong or you do some exercise that tweaks that part of it. But I think on the day-to-day basis, part of it is what you just described is our ability to basically just ignore and to just accept. Maybe that's a better way. Accept it. But the only way I really know when I have pain is when I have a massage.
Yes.
So here you go. We're going to do a little sample, and Tony's going to get the camera so that we can show a little bit of what you do.
All right.
So let me see if I can get on your chair.
Should I move the chair here?
Well,
tell me where I should move the chair.
Yeah, Tony, you tell us.
Oh, this is good. Perfect.
Okay, and I'm going to try to do this with a ladylike way.
And I'll screen you. There you go.
Okay.
And then okay, and then I'll put this here.
Okay, so you describe what you're doing while we're doing it, and Tony's going to do the camera so people.
Okay.
Can
Well,
see.
you want to tell me like if you have any?
I should take this off. I think. Don't you, so that you can get into the body more.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm trying to. I don't know if I can talk while I do this, Tony. So we might have to be.
This time you can just relax.
We might we're gonna let
Me do this.
we're gonna let Angie talk. Okay.
All
All right. Here we go.
right. Sure. That's cool. All right. So as Michelle said, she's not necessarily feeling any pain, but she'll typically feel it when I get there, and I can already tell that the shoulders are a little tight. And here, front shoulders are being pulled a little bit, and that's natural, right? Because we're a forward-moving species. So typically, I'll just feel around, and it's a little different because I don't have like the salve right now with me that I'm get to use, but I'll just kind of probe and feel here and just follow it along, right?
What did I say about no pain?
Right? Exactly.
Oh my gosh, it's there.
Right. And then so I'll use, so just go and relax, be dead weight. See, so I'll anchor like the muscles that are usually being moved. Go and just be dead weight, drop. Yeah, good. See, so even in this instance, Michelle, even though she's getting the massage, she's not knowing how to actually fully relax, which a lot of us, we do that
don't know
too.
how to do it.
We're like kind of, yeah. Yep, good. But see, so I'm like around the edge of the scapula, and I'll do some like, see, this is like more like a trigger point or acupressure style. And then I'm stretching it, pulling the shoulder back. Can you just relax?
Yeah, see, this is something that has to come with treatments, right?
Yes, exactly. And like learning to relax as well as an art, right? Some people are like, I am relaxed, and actually they're not. And they don't even realize that they're not relaxed.
You just described me.
Right, exactly. So, and probably many other viewers as well. So then sometimes too, I'll use like my elbow, and then I'll just sink in, right? So I don't go in too aggressively, but a gradual, it's gentle, but it's firm. And then I'll make sure that you're nice and relaxed. And then do like some kind of range of motion, right? Like typically this is the kind of movement you would do with your arm.
Okay,
right?
take it back, Angie.
Right?
Take it back. There is pain.
There.
You just did that.
Right?
An adjustment.
All that, yeah, see, exactly.
Oh my
That's what
gosh.
happens though. That's the myofascial release.
Yeah, release.
You see, the fascia is so like built up, or like,
Yeah. No,
and then you just move it around and get it to flow, and then boom, you're like, it's getting back into alignment of.
Well, I feel it now. I'm going to be all loose on this side,
Right?
and not on that side.
Exactly.
So thank you. So thank you so much for that.
Of course.
And so now we all have a little sampling of what to expect, and I can tell you I need it.
Yeah, that's
Angie, why don't you tell us what you would do now if I were
Right.
coming in for treatment now that you had a little test? What would you say? What would you do?
Well, yes, I would absolutely focus on your shoulders, but also I didn't get a chance to really feel the chest area, right? Because again, typically I saw that your shoulders are being pulled forward a little.
Yeah, which I've got to remember to get my shoulders back.
Exactly.
Right? All of us have to do that.
Correct.
Right?
So like
Posture.
in like outside of the table or the getting a massage, I would obviously suggest like doing a lot of rows.
Yeah.
Strengthening the back so you're really nice upright and not because
Not
it's
going
so
forward.
strong here that the back muscles cannot. They're like trying, but they can't. That's why you naturally it's like, oh, this feels good because I'm relaxed, right?
Exactly.
But once we get the back muscles to be stronger, relaxed can still look like this.
Oh, I love this. This is so good. Well, I think that I'm a victim.
She can't talk right now. She's
No,
just like,
I think she finally found me to be able to relax a little bit.
that was just like a minute.
Yeah, but I know that 1 minute can make a whole difference. And what is that book, The 1 Minute Manager? Remember that? And so we have the 1 minute massage. Well, I think I found some answers there that are very important, and all of us, there isn't one exception,
Correct.
need to get some body work.
Yeah.
And many of us avoid that because we are so busy and we always have an excuse, and we'd rather go exercise than get treatment, right? Isn't that true?
Absolutely. And sometimes it's actually counterproductive, right? If you're already tight and have this pain, but you go and work out, you're only making it worse. And then then you kind of have to face the music anyway. So you might as well come in, right?
So, okay, so I don't want to run out of time and not have a chance for people to know what you can offer to them if they want to come and see you. So let's talk a little bit about what you would like to offer the ageless and timeless viewers,
Absolutely.
and me included.
Yes.
And how they can get the CBD products if they want to do that starting right away, before they even come and see you. So why don't you take over and tell us what your thoughts are there?
Thank you. So basically, I'm offering a 20% discount on your first session. And then, moving forward, I have packages available, which are, very significant. And you can find my products on my website, which is at www.myo, that's MYO, the word evolution, LA as in Los Angeles.com. So www.myoevolution.
What does myo mean?
.com.
Yep.
Yeah, myo is actually the root word for muscle. So I wanted to really ensure that I created a name that wasn't like happy massage, or like, so not that there's nothing wrong with a happy massage, but,
But you're at another level.
Yeah, exactly.
I can feel you have very, very powerful hands.
Thank you. Yes. And so evolution is constant change, right? Our bodies are constantly changing.
Right.
So, whether it's from good to bad or bad to good, but we can always be changing for the better.
I like that a lot.
Awesome. Thank you.
So 20%, and what is the normal fee for a 90-minute or 60-minute?
For 60 minutes, typically it's $100 an hour, which is very
that's
affordable
reasonable
still.
for LA,
and
for
everyone
sure.
is like, you got to increase your prices. And honestly, maybe I will in the future. But right now,
I love that.
What's important for me is really getting the work out there and the word out there and my results, right? Because I know that the average person, working American, may not be able to afford $100 an hour every week.
Yeah.
And I want them to be consistent so my packages can really support that kind of lifestyle where, the middle-class American can absolutely afford seeing me on a consistent basis.
So for $80, you can ageless viewers can come, ageless and timeless viewers can come to you and try you for 1 hour, and then 90 minutes would be how much?
So that would be it's $140. I think that's like $26.
Yeah. So 14 times 2 is 28.
Right.
So it would be $28 off of 140.
Or they go 28.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So, and then what's your address?
I'm at 8000 West Sunset Boulevard. I'm actually inside the Salon Republic, where there's a lot of little private studios.
Yeah.
It's on the second floor of that center, and I'm Studio 22.
So does that mean they can park in the building and get a validation for the 90 minutes that they're there?
Which is amazing because, in LA, parking is like...
It's gold.
Right, and people will like veer away because your parking sucks.
Totally.
So
that's why I can never go. I never go to Venice for any. I love Venice, but where do you park?
Yeah,
and if you
that's a headache in itself. They're gonna get stressed out just coming to me.
Exactly. So you're so lucky that you have. Basically, they just drive right in. They get a ticket, bring it to you, validate it. Oh my gosh,
there's even street parking that's really easy too. Like it's like a no-brainer, and it's an easy location to find. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the massage. Now what about the CBD?
Yeah. So the CBD, same thing, 20% off. You can get it online on my website, as I mentioned, www.
So they have to put in ageless, or do they call you and that it's them?
They could call. I'm not, I can see if we could put a code or
something.
But
they say
either which way we can figure that out.
Okay. Yeah. Well, for now, just to begin with, because we're putting that kind of technology into our website as well. But for your sake, I would say maybe people could just call you and say, hey, I want to book a treatment with you, and I'd like to order some of your CBD right now.
Yeah.
And
or you can always email me. That'd be
or email
I can
you
track
or text
that.
you.
Yeah, and let me know that it was from
here.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then the other thing would be just in the final few seconds that we have here, or let's say minute. The difference between a massage therapist and a healer, which is what I led off with. Can you give us what the difference is and what you are? Yeah,
absolutely. Well, what is amazing is that people would actually tell me, right? So it's not even me saying, I am this healer. People are like, you are more than a massage therapist. You're a healer. I feel your energy. I feel what you do. Like they feel me feeling their body, right? With with care. Like you touch base on like lomi lomi.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like that's literally what I do from the very second you walk in. Like you feel a sense of care, of me listening, paying attention, caring, like really wanting to be effective. And I think that's what's so important. I'm not just, okay, come in, what do you want?
Right.
Go through the motions and like, thank you. It's very much like a relationship that we create. I create a safe space. I make sure that I'm like, yes, I'm getting in there, but I'm not killing you either. Because there's a difference too, where people get like these deep tissue massages and then they leave worse than they came in.
Right.
And that's absolutely not the case
Not
with
what
me.
you want. Okay.
Totally. Like I'm here to really be of service, to listen and care for people's needs.
Well, that I think sets you apart. Not
Yeah.
I think, I know.
Yeah.
And that's what I'd like to end on that note,
Thank
because
you.
I think that I know that we have met somebody today. And of course, I've talked to Angie long before she came on today. So I was very, very discerning in who I wanted to express this modality, because it is one of the ageless and timeless product or modality protocol offerings. So I want you to all to know that this is a very unique young lady, and she will show you that as soon as you walk in her door. And I think you'll be very happy. And we're not trying to sell her. We're just trying to tell you and share with you our knowledge and our information so that you get greater awareness. And that's what we're all about here at Ageless and Timeless. So thank you for joining us,
Thank
Angie.
you so much. It's a pleasure.
Okay, you take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
'Cause you're amazing, just the way you are.
Well, in the very beginning of this podcast, I told you my goals, and that is to make you aware of the people and the events and the services and the products that we believe are going to make a difference in your life, and so that you can be ageless and timeless, live longer, and not only longer, but more quality in your years of existence. So I think today I keep saying I know today that you were introduced to someone who would make a difference in your life. And I can't wait to go have a treatment with her now that I've got my little sampling, because I can tell that she has healing hands. And so anyway, we thank Angie for coming on the show, and we'll welcome your comments back after you've met with her and get some feedback to me. So agelessandtimeless.com is the website, and I'm Michelle Hughes, and thank you for joining us today.